a really funny gentleman, a funny guy. He should be a comedian, but unfortunately, he is a politician, and he is very famous for this particular speech.
That 99% of the meetings I go to, I'm the only non-white person in the room. But why are we so surprised when the most senior positions in Scotland are filled almost exclusively by those who are white? Take my portfolio alone. The Lord President, white. The Lord Justice Clerk, white. Every High Court judge, white. The Lord Advocate, white. The Solicitor General, white. The Chief Constable, white. Every Deputy Chief Constable, white. Every Assistant Chief Constable, white. The head of the Law Society, white. The head of the Faculty of Advocates, white.
It's not just what he said, but it's the manner he says it. It's like he's got so much disgust. It's like, "Ugh, this guy, white, white, all of you, blah, 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 blah." And it's the implication as well, right? So, for instance, I as a Romanian, if I travel to Britain, I cannot possibly be represented by someone like Humza Yousaf. It doesn't matter what politics he has. It doesn't matter what ideas he puts forward. It's like, no, politics should just be reduced on race and gender, I assume, and sexual orientation, right? So only a straight, cisgender, heteronormative white man that happened to be from Romania could represent me. And at this point, I don't understand like why we don't just restructure our entire political system, because you just have to look at the demographics of the nation and then like choose the most pure stock of person, the one with the correct pedigree to be able to do the representation. Because clearly, you know, someone like Thomas Sowell would not be able to represent me. However, you know, someone like, I don't know, Joe Biden would be a perfect fit for me. And at this point, politics just don't matter. It doesn't matter if Joe Biden wants to raise my taxes. It doesn't matter if he's starting foreign conflicts. None of this matters. What matters is what's in the DNA, the heritage. Where were your parents born from? Were they from here or were they from abroad? You know, like this is the mental illness that is plaguing our century. I would definitely say that people in the future are going to look back on this and they're going to be absolutely horrified how this ideology was even allowed to come to pass. Like how exactly did people say, okay, so like if he has like some genetical similarity, then he must have your best interests at heart. Like it's not that politicians are corrupt, no, like they have the exact same pedigree as you, and because of that, there's like this deep connection that makes all the ideology not matter. In fact, like one could ask the question, what is even the point in having party policy and party ideology and debates and discussions when all that matters is where are your parents from? Where do they come from? What tribe are you from? You know? So this gentleman managed to pass one of the worst hate speech laws in the world. One that obviously, in my opinion, was meant to crack down on dissent. You can get up to 7 years for shit you type online. I'm genuinely curious, like, what is the punishment for spreading child pornography on the internet in Scotland? I hope it's more than 7 years, because when you have a crime, you know, you need to put it in contrast with other crimes. Because at this point, it's curious to see if not like spreading the speech of hatred on the keyboard is it actually more punishable than, you know, sending illicit pictures over the internet. But anyway, it does seem that people did what we do here in Eastern Europe, and we have a lot of experience with handling with this stuff after many years of communism. Most people realize that there's no point in protesting. There's no point in doing like physical resistance. But there is this thing called militant compliance, where you do literally what the government wants, but you over-exaggerate it. So in this case, in Scotland, it seems that many people were calling the police, reporting every single incident of hate crime that they were seeing, to the point where the police was unable to police properly because they were inundated by these phone calls. And the two individuals that were reported the most was J.K. Rowling, because she misgendered, and Obviously, they're not going to do anything about her because she's J.K. Rowling. I mean, it looks bad on camera to harass a middle-aged woman as famous as she is. And the other person was Mr. Humza Yusuf himself. Now, I understand that political correctness and hate speech is, when you get a lot of people offended, and he does seem to have gotten a significant number of people offended, to the point where the hate crime call handlers are given a script to defend him. Like, the level of PR involved in this is very interesting. Countries are being ran like American corporations now, where it's literally a team of experts and PR, like everything is fake, nothing is from the heart, like you don't actually get to speak to a human being, you get to speak to a flowchart. So apparently the police in Scotland have been given scripts defending the Prime Minister after he faced a deluge of hate crime reports. The National Force issued an email guide to call center workers and office advising them of lines to take in response to claims that the First Minister made a racist speech during the height of the Black Lives Matter movement. Like take into account, like the Black Lives Matter stuff is happening in the US, right? It's about American police officers shooting African Americans. What the fuck does this have to do with Scotland? Why is Scotland involved in any of it? Like it's an ocean away. But no, like, again, we gotta import American slop into Europe. Like, the worst things that America produces, we gotta import them. We don't import the good stuff. No, like, the good stuff, like the good mentality and what made America great, we're not importing that. When Donald Trump comes to London, they have blimps and balloons and all of this fanfare, but when you have, like, a dictator coming from the Middle East, I know that's worthy of respect and admiration. But we also import the slop. Yes, like literally everything that America produces which is bad, we gotta import that over here. And in politics as well, very interesting. Even if it doesn't fit. He added that 99% of the meetings he went to was the only non-white person in the room. Yeah, but like, isn't this like the demographics of Scotland? I mean, imagine if I were to go to China and whine about that most of the meetings that I attend are 99% Chinese. Isn't it bewildering? Isn't it childish? Isn't it immature? And what is your suggestion? How do you fix this? Like, first of all, you'd have to articulate why this is a problem. They never do. They never articulate why is it that 99% of the meetings he went to were white. Like, it's just a problem because it happens, but they don't articulate. And the next question is like, how do you fix that? The only way to fix it is like how? Getting like Scottish people to have less kids? Like how do you fix that? Because your issue is with demographics. How do you fix demographics? Is he planning a genocide? Like how? No? Is this not a legitimate question? But the thing is like, individuals such as Mr. Yusuf will never actually get to sit down and have a debate with someone that disagrees with them. They are never placed in a position where they have to answer for their buzzwords. They're using the American buzzwords that are imported from another country, but they never actually have to sit down and have an honest conversation about what he means. My question would be like, okay, why is it a problem if 99% of the meetings that you attend are white? Like, how is that an issue? Why is it bothering you? He's not saying that the meetings are staffed by people that are incompetent. He's not saying that the people that organize the meeting are being racist towards anyone. No, just the fact they were born wrong, according to him. His remarks has since been taken out of context online in a 45-second clip. No, it's not out of context. It's 100% within context. I have seen the entire meeting. Such was the volume for complaints that the remarks that police in Scotland issued a guide on a form of words to recite. Again, like they have to recite now the prayer when people are calling with the speech of hate. In the states that Mr. Yusuf had been making reference to his own personal experiences of racism, and that as nothing said in the hate speech was threatening, abusive, or insulting. Did you see the way he pronounces the word? Like, part of the conversation, when a human being speaks, very little has to do with the words that are being said. Much has to do with the inflection of the voice and the body language. Like, it's one thing when you say to someone, hey, motherfucker, what are you doing? And it's another thing when you say to someone, hey, motherfucker. You know, like it's the same thing, it's the same words, but the tone of voice, the body language. No, I disagree with what they are saying. And the fact that so many people think that it is offensive. It's interesting that the police is just gaslighting the public. It's like, no, nothing to be there. No, it was taken out of context. No. Meanwhile, what Count Dankula did in Scotland, right? Comedian gets his dog in order to do the Nazi stuff. Oh, no, that is offensive. No, that worthy of a fine. And take into account that the process is the punishment. How many years did he have to be dragged through courts? Like 2 years, where he thought he may be in prison and stuff? Right. So there was no malice or ill towards any person or group displayed. Yeah, I'm pretty sure if you replace what he said, if you replace white with literally any demographic, you replace it with women, you replace it with Muslims, they would then have to go through the mental gymnastic Olympics and justify, well, actually, because whiteness is different, everything else is different, and No, it would be racist. It would definitely be racist. Hell, when Nigel Farage goes around and talks about immigrants, right, in contexts that are less hateful, the banks debank him. Like, what are we talking about? I guess he's not from Scotland, so it doesn't apply. Huh? According to police, Scotland's published policies, hate incidents are recorded based solely on the perception of the person making the complaint. Yeah, like I remember, I don't know if it was in Scotland or in England, but you literally have a hate crime where a woman finds a dog poop on her porch. So the dog committed a hate crime because she was offended by it. But for some reason, despite the fact that a huge number of people are offended by him, nothing is going to happen. Because again, the laws aren't meant to actually target hate speech. They're meant to target political opponents and dissent. And this is how it's actually going to be applied. And take into account, the laws are made vague enough. It's like, oh, if the person gets offended. That is so vague and subjective. And the reason it's done so is to make people be afraid, right? Because like you can type something that you think is okay, but you're going to have to second doubt yourself and be like, well, what if it's actually offensive? What if I upset someone? Let me know what you guys think. And as usual, I will see you in the comment section. Take care.